All right, guys, welcome back to the series. In today's video, we're going to learn how to use ABS function in Python and how to use it with real life examples. Let's understand ABS. So ABS means absolute, which means it doesn't really care if a number is positive or negative. It only takes a look at the value of the number, like how far away the number is from zero. Then it's going to return the absolute value or the magnitude of the number that is specified to it. Perfect. All right, so my baby boy has a toy car, and this car can move only in two directions, backwards and forward. Remember, the car can move only backwards and forward. Now, let's just say I want to measure the total distance the car can travel or the car travels, regardless of the direction of the movement. To make things easy on myself, I'm going to have to use the ABS function to calculate the total distance. More on this towards the end of the video, but for now, let's take a look at the syntax of ABS. All right, so ABS, you use the function name ABS, and we're going to pass a number to it. So remember, this number could be integer, it could be a floating point number or a complex number. Now let's take examples. First with integers. Okay, so now if I should run this straight away, I'm going to get error saying the number, a name number is not defined, like so, right here. So there are two ways to solve this. First is to actually define the number. So number is equal to, let's say, -5. Then when I run, I'm actually getting +5 because we say ABS doesn't really care if a number is positive or negative. It's actually going to do away with the sign, the positive or the negative, and it's going to return the value, the absolute value of the number. Those of you who will be following from the command prompt or CMD, you're going to have to print it like this. Print, and then you're going to wrap it in the print like this. This way you will be able to see an output. All right, so is it really necessary to define a number? Because we defined a number or a variable called number, and then we only used it just at one place. Best practices, once you are using it only at one place, it is better to place the number right in here, like -5. So I'm going to take a look, delete this one right here, and then still run it, and we are going to get the same result. All right, so let's take a look at how ABS works with positive numbers. So ABS, and I'm going to pass something like 10. All right, 19 is okay. Run it, and we are getting what? 19 as the answer. All right, so let's take a look at how to use ABS with floating point number. And just like how ABS works with integers, the same way is going to work with floating point numbers. So look at the syntax. We specify ABS, and then let's say -3.14. So we run it and we get 3.14. Again, it has gotten rid of the negative sign and has now given us positive 3.14. Let's take a look at how to do that with ABS. And then we're going to pass a positive floating point number. Something like this. Run it and we get the same result. All right, so now let's take a look at how to use ABS with complex numbers. So let's take a look at the definition of complex numbers according to Wikipedia. So it states that in mathematics, a complex number is an element of a number system that extends the real number system, with specific element denoted I. And this I or this element is called imaginary number. So it's always of the form a plus b I. So this is what we are going to do. Take a look at how to use ABS with complex numbers. So first, I'm gonna write ABS and pass in a complex number like 8 minus maybe 6J. All right, and we are getting this. So when I throw a positive or negative complex number, it's gonna return the magnitude of the number or the absolute value of the number. Perfect. Now let's take a look at how to use ABS with real world problems, like real life scenarios. So this is where I'll ask you to pause the video and just work it out as an exercise. Right from there, you can just compare your answer to what I have. So this is the question. You are working on a project and you have a list of users' age. However, some of the ages of the users are in negative, which is not allowed, as ages cannot be negative. Use the ABS function to create a new list containing only positive numbers or positive values of the user's age. I'm going to take it one more time. You are working on a project and you have a list of users' ages. However, some of the ages of the users are negative, which is not allowed, as users' ages cannot be negative. Use ABS function to create a new list containing only positive values of the user's age. So please pause the video and do this. But let's take a look at the instruction. First of all, you're going to have to define a new list called ages containing the user's age, both negative and positive values. From there, you're going to create an empty list called post ages, something like positive ages, to store the positive ages. Then from there, you're going to use for loop to iterate through each age in the list. Then inside the for loop, you use ABS function to each of the age to convert it to positive. Then you're going to append the positive age to the list of post age. Then you're going to print the new list containing the positive ages. All right, so please try that. Okay, I think let's try it together. So first of all, according to the instruction, you define a new list called ages. All right, so these are ages list. Then from there, you create a new list called post ages. So I'm gonna create a new list called post underscore ages. That's how we create a list. From here, you're gonna use a for loop. So you're gonna say for age in ages, for age in ages, what do we want to do? First of all, age is gonna give us access to the individual ages in the list. So let me print right here. Let me print age like so. So now we are getting the individual elements in the age like 5, 30, 60. But we want to use ABS to convert each age to positive. So we could do ABS of age like so. Okay, let me close it here. All right, I get an error say ABS. Okay, so this should be right here. ABS of age. Okay, now we are getting it. Now it's being converted to positive, but we want to append everything into this list, this particular list, post ages. So what I could do is to call the list post underscore ages dot append. Then we're gonna append ABS of what age. Then once we have gotten this, we can now come out of the for loop and then print our post underscore ages like so. Let's run and see. Now we have a new list of positive ages. Those of you who are using the command prompt or terminal should write print like so, and then you're gonna close it right here like this. Perfect. So I hope you really understand this thing. All right, from here we can see that we are using for loop. It really looks good, but this is not a perfect solution in the world. If you are more Pythonic like myself, or maybe a one-liner like myself, you'll probably be thinking, how could I use this? How could I use one line of Python code to achieve the same result? Well, there is a solution for that. Let's introduce list comprehension. With list comprehension, you can write a one-line code, one line to solve the same problem. So first of all, I want to introduce, or let's say talk about the syntax of list comprehension. So we have the variable name, the expression for item in iterable, and then an if condition. All right, so let's break it down. The iterable name is going to be the name or the new list, like the post underscore ages, the new list we want to create. The expression is going to be the expression we are going to evaluate. And for item in iterable, is going to loop through the list and get access to each of the elements in the list. And then the last part of it is what? If condition. So this if condition is actually optional. It's optional. It's not compulsory to use the if condition. But what it does is it actually filters which elements are going to be included in our new list. In our case, we are not going to use the if condition because we want to include all elements. All right, let me comment that one right quick and then let's continue. So we're going to define our new list. We are going to call it post underscore ages. Let me call it something else. Positive, maybe positive underscore ages. And we are going to open the square bracket like this. So we're going to have our expression. But before I talk about the expression, let's use our for item in what is going to be our iterable. Our iterable now is going to be the ages that we have defined right here. So let me comment that one real quick. It is going to be our ages here. So I'm going to pass the ages here. So for item in what? Ages. Better still, let's make it more descriptive. For age in ages. And what is going to be our expression? Our expression is going to be ABS of what? Age. So we are going to find absolute value of age for every age in the list called ages. That's perfect. Now we can print our positive ages. Ages and perfect. This is how to use a one-liner against a for loop, which takes 1, 2, 3 up to this place. Doing that in a one line. Good. Perfect. So let's take a look at the second example. Back to the story of my boy with a toy car, which only travels backwards and forward. Let's do that. All right. So you have a toy car that moves backwards and forward along a track. The car can move only forward and backwards, and you want to measure the total distance it travels, regardless of the direction of the movement. So here you can use a for loop, or what we are trying to say is that you use for loop to calculate the total distance covered. And these are the instructions. First is to define the list of all the movements representing the distances traveled by the toy car. So it's going to include positive numbers for forward and negative numbers for what? Backwards. You're going to initialize a value called total distance. You initialize it to 0 to keep track of the total distance. Then you're going to use a for loop to iterate through all the movement of the car. Then inside the for loop, you're going to add an absolute value for each of the elements to convert it into positive. Then you're gonna print the total distance traveled by the toy car. All right, so guys, pause the video, try it yourself, and then have a look at my solution. Okay, perfect. Let's do that. First of all, we're gonna define a new list representing the distances. So I'm gonna call it movement. And the movement, let's just say the car moves 5 units forward, 3 units backwards, forward 2 units, backwards 4 units, and then forward 6 units. Now we're gonna define the total distance variable. So total underscore distance. This is actually gonna help us keep track of the total distance covered. Then from here, it says we should use a for loop to iterate through the list. So we're gonna say for, let's say movement in movement. So this could be anything for maybe move in movement. Here, it is going to give us access to individual movements. So maybe let me print that one real quick. You're gonna print move and we will see what we have. So we now have access to the individual movement. But what we really want to do is not to print it, but actually to calculate the total distance covered. So what I'm going to do real quick is to say that total distance, which is this variable right here, is plus or equal to, that means we are adding up ABS of what? Move. All right. So from here, we can just print that. I'm going to print the total distance covered by the toy car. What is the total distance? That is representing what? Total underscore distance. All right, so let's run it real quick. And we are getting the total distance covered by the toy car is 20. That is it right here. I don't know whether you had it correct or wrong, but in case you had it correct for the first time, congratulations. In case you didn't, no problem. Remember that the more you learn, the more you practice, the better you become. If you found this tutorial very helpful, please like and share the video, leave a comment in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated. And I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye bye.